In this video, we will be talking about the quadratic equation y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, and namely, when a and c are 0. So, when we start off, we'll talk about values of b and what happens as b increases or decreases, and see what happens to the graph. If we start off with y equals x squared, then we have b is equal to 0, and the graph looks something like this. As b increases by As b increases by 1, we have another x, so x squared plus 1x. And the picture of the graph looks like this. We've noticed that they are not similar because they are not lined up on top of each other. So that means the graph has shifted in some way. The shape of the graph, in this U, is very similar, and it looks to be the same. Now, let's look at what happens as we increase b more. We have 2 as b, and the graph looks something like this. It is another shift, and then we look at when b is equal to 3, and we get another shift. So, a conjecture we could make is as b increases, the graph shifts to the left. We started on the right side with x squared. As we increased b, we got a shift, moving the graph to the left. Now, as we decrease b, as we go into the negatives, we get graphs with -1. And it looks something like this. This blue one is our g graph. It has shifted to the right of our x squared. As we decrease some more, and we get -2, we get the graph shifted to the right again. As we decrease one more time, we notice that the graph shifts again to the right. So, coming from the graph of x squared, this green graph, we notice as b increases, that the graph shifts to the left, and as b decreases, we get the graphs that shift to the right. To illustrate this point even more, we are going to look at the equation y equals x squared plus 10x, where b is equal to 10. We are going to, on this number line, look and see what happens as we adjust the points from positive to negative and back again. So looking at the graph, here we are. Looking at the graph, b equals to 10, we have it off to the left. As we decrease b, we start heading towards the right. We pass through 0, and we start heading off to the right some more. So that further proves that our conjecture of as b increases, the graph shifts to the left, and as b decreases, the graph shifts to the right. An interesting aside, if we set it at 0, where are you? If we set it close to 0, then we notice that all of these vertices, which is the point, the very bottom point of the graph, as it travels along, it seems to be following some sort of arc shape. And exactly the arc shape is along this graph right here. You notice it follows straight along that graph. That graph just happens to be -x squared. So as we shift along the axis, all the vertices line up on the -x squared, which is an interesting aside. So we have shown that as b increases, the graph shifts to the left, and as b decreases, the graph shifts to the right.